بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. This is our program Spirit of Values and this is Dr. Tariq Rashid. Today we will continue with the value of excellence through implementation. It's very important to have goals in mind, but what is more important is to get the results through the implementation. So let's start to look for what we call PMS, Project Management System. It is a set of tools, techniques, strategies, resources, and procedures and processes in order to facilitate implementation. The project development plan describes the project management system. So in the PMS, we have lots of tools that will help us to go for implementation and achieving results. But also we have lots of techniques to use in order to transfer goals into reality. And we have lots of resources to use. And to remind you that we have mentioned 12 types of resources that we will always use in order to achieve the results. These are termed as the 4 M's, first starting with the manpower, machinery, materials, and money. But also we have the 3 E's, the environment, the energy, the emotions, and we have the 3 T's, technology, time, and talents, and ending with the 2 I's, infrastructure and information. So these resources will be used in order to facilitate implementation. But also we have lots of procedures in the PMS, Project Management System, and we have methodologies. So this will describe in this episode, Project Management System, how to facilitate implementation. So what are the main functions that we use in the project management? Management is an art grounded on applications. Because of this, now all discussion is about results, implementation. How can we achieve the result that we set in the planning stage? So it contains of the following functions: planning for implementation, organizing the team for the implementation, staffing, directing them, motivating through incentives, leading them, and controlling the results. So these are the main functions that we use in order to get the result. By planning, we set a goals, objectives, and targets for our action plans. Then we organize the environment, we organize the team, we put a good structure for our team, then we choose the staff in different roles, then we direct them towards the achievement, but we have always to motivate the team in order to go and get the implementation, and we need always to lead the team through influencing them to explore in their energy and inner voices to achieve the implementation, but also we have always to control the results that we achieve. So the role of the project manager, actually, the PM, who is the project manager, has the primary responsibility of the success or failure of the project. Project manager has to manage the project effectively, and this includes the characteristics of the project manager. He should be knowledgeable, or she should be knowledgeable, having lots of knowledge in order to transfer goals into actions. But also there are some sort of performance skills that will help us to achieve through a good project manager, and there are some sort of characteristics with the personality. We always prefer people who have the positive personality in order to achieve the excellence value. So, to which extent a project manager should be technical? Is he or she should be technical or managerial? And in this discussion, they said that as much as you are less project size and less complexity, we need more technicality of the project manager. So he or she will use 80% of technical skills, 20% of managerial. But when the project size increases and we have lots of complexity, then we transfer into the opposite order. 80% of the skills are managerial and only 20% of the skills of the project managers are technical. So how can good project managers initiate their time, and where do they spend their time? Let's think together. If you are a project manager, 65% of your time planning, following, 25 supervising, updating, and just 10% of routine tasks. So we should increase the planning, developing, thinking strategically for project managers. Then they have to go for follow-up, supervising others, and in order to achieve. So these are the main characteristics and skills for anyone who would like to lead a project. We should have a vision. The vision will direct project managers to the success of the project. So have a vision in mind for this project. But plan it, set goals, objectives, and targets. And we mentioned this in previous episodes about the planning, setting the goals, the objectives, and then we have to lead our team in order to achieve the results. But always keep in mind that we have to monitor, control, evaluate, and then proceed. Liaison, communication, and we have lots of episodes that describe the communication part of good project managers. And whenever we have conflict between teams, between people who are supplying this project or implementing, we have to resolve the conflict. Excellent project managers can easily resolve conflict. Sometimes we may go for negotiation in project management. In big mega projects, lots of negotiation for time, for cost, for quality, for implementation, for variations. So negotiation, and a good project manager is a team builder, an excellent listener, and he or she can influence others to achieve the goals, to achieve the value of excellence through implementation. Excellent managers always motivate, persuade, coach the others, and he or she is highly self-confident, honest, and this is the value of honesty, open to change, desire to achieve, and very optimistic. These are the characteristics and skills of a good project managers if we want to achieve the result. Implementation is very important, but who is leading this project for implementation is the project manager who has the skills and characteristics that will facilitate achieving the goals. If we look to what we call the integration management plan of the whole story of the project, develop the project management plan. This process includes the following actions: define, integrate, coordinate all subsidiary plans into one plan. Time plan, cost plan, quality plan, risk plan, procurement plan, communication plan in one integrated plan is what we need from a good project managers. Revised, updated through project life cycle. And to remind you, any project goes through the life cycle of initiating, implementing, revising, and then reaching the closing and finalizing the project. Then define how the project is executed, monitored, controlled, and finalizing by closing the project plan. So to develop the project plan, what is the uses of the project management plan? If we have a good plan in mind, then we can guide the project implementation and execution. We document the project planning assumptions through a good project management plan. One of the issues that may lead to failure is lack of documentation. So please, let's always document the project planning assumptions and then document all the planning sessions, and whatever you do, it should be actually documented in all the steps that we do. Facilitate communication. A good plan will facilitate communication among stakeholders, and you can get back to our previous episodes to know more about the stakeholder analysis. Stakeholders are those people, maybe organizations, institutes, local, regional, or international, affected or affecting by your project are stakeholders. We make always a strategic relationship with our stakeholders. A good project management plan should facilitate communication, should also define the key management reviews. When and by whom? Provide a baseline for progress measurement and project control. So we have to care for the project management plan, and this is done by a good project manager. So develop the project management plan. The outputs are the implementation. So what are the processes? Any updates should be there. Any feedback should always be in the project management plan. So it determines the following: the project life cycle, the different processes to be applied at each phase of the project, tailoring results. At the end, I need results. And as I discussed previously, we need what we call RBM, result-based management. For sure, we need objectives, but objectives without implementation is zero. So tailoring results, project management processes, level of implementation, when, what, and to how much have we achieved in the implementation process. Description of the tools and techniques, always in a good project management plan, and how well the selected processes will interact together. How we will execute the work. If we have any change on the plan, we should also document changes, configuration of the management plan, how to maintain the integrity of all together, and need and techniques for communicating with stakeholders. And will help key managers as to review what about the result. Are we on the target or not? So these are 10 plans, but should be integrated in one project management plan: scope management plan, requirements management plan, schedule management about the time, cost management, quality management plan, process improvement, PI, process improvement plan, human resource plans, communication management plan, risk management, and procurement management integrated in one plan. So it seems it would be huge. Yes, for mega projects, we have lots of plans. But in some small projects, maybe we can just go for 30 pages to define all of these. It depends on the size of the project. But for mega large projects that we need to implement, we have to have all these subsidiary plans to get all of this. And always we should remember that a good plan should answer the following questions. What are we doing? What is the scope? Where are we implementing the project? When and the schedules? How? How much? How long? Resources, time, who and for whom we are implementing the project, what quality we do need, what to buy and from whom, which is the procurement. All these questions should be answered by the project manager and his or her team. So the plan should have a certain characteristics in order to be a very sound, clear project plan. Comprehensive, satisfying all and describing all tasks needed. Unique, which means any project is unique from any other project. Very clear, no ambiguity is there, and it allows people to know their authority and the authority given to them, and keep this management plan current by giving always the updates needed. This also to be done to implement and to facilitate implementation. So the most important and critical one is actually scope management. And due to research, they found that if we have ill-defined scope, we fail. And always we tell this story to imagine what happens with lots of projects. This is how the customer explained to the project manager. The project leader understood it like this, but the analysts who make all the analysis design it like this. The programmer who write the IT program do it like this. And the business consultant is always giving luxury, so the consultant describe it like this. And this is how was it documented. No one cares for documentation. And once implemented, it's implemented like this. But when they presented for the finance department, this is the invoice, and this is how it was supported by leaders. And by the way, the customer needs actually the last one, not that. This is how much of our projects always have such misunderstanding, lots of different issues that lead to failure of projects all over. Because of this, scope management should be clear, and the good project manager should clarify this with the team. So, also we have to define the needs and requirements. How to convert user needs into requirements. Here we have to read the needs of the customers who are affected by the implementation of such project. The things required by the consumers could be food, shelter, medicine, computers, services, different projects with different needs. Wants, these are additional than needs. Any project should satisfy the needs, but if giving additional issue, it's satisfying the wants. For example, additional goods, additional services, but always we have to look for the expectations of our consumers who are always in the mind whenever we go for implementation. The success of implementation to give excellence value is to read others and go to satisfy them. And this needs actually a very important step: collect requirements. All the requirements needed for the project success should be collected. So collect the user expectations, their wants, their needs, their requirements, then set the specifications in order to achieve a good result. Define and document the needs of the stakeholders to meet the project objectives at the end. How many methods to collect requirements? We have lots of methods. One most important and familiar is to make an interview. Make interview with all those people who are affected or affecting the project. Take notes, listen deeply, emotionally listening. In these interviews, we can summarize and collect the requirements for the project. Sometimes we do some sort of focus groups. So groups of stakeholders, possible SMEs, to analyze, define whatever issues that would affect our result. So a good focus group would help in collecting the requirements of the project. Facilitated workshops. For example, we can make team building workshops. We can open discussion, more interaction with the facilitated workshops, and the project manager should facilitate such workshops. Also, we can collect requirements, but what we call group creativity techniques. Brainstorming is one of the most important techniques that we use in project management. So brainstorming, nominal group technique, Delphi technique, step ladder technique, and idea mind mapping techniques. All of these are techniques that we can use to collect requirements. In the next episode, we will discuss deeply how to collect requirements to facilitate implementation to achieve the value of excellence. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.